Hey, Jeff, I want to thank you for getting together with us today. What I want to talk today about is your story. I want to know what is it that you did before you got involved with Primerica? What got you started? What did you like about the
Yeah.
business? Share with everybody what you did before Primerica.
Before Primerica, I came in Primerica. I was young, but I grew up. My mom was a single mom. I'm one of six kids, and so we grew up poor. We never really had any money. Lived in a single wide trailer, which I hated so bad. So I was really motivated. I think sometimes people take those past experiences in different ways, but I was really motivated. It made me really motivated where I never wanted my children to live like that. And I always think back, and I respect my mom so much for how hard she worked, but I watched what she did. And I don't know why at a young age I realized that, she had gone to school and gotten good grades, and she had, multiple degrees, and still just never made enough money to provide for my brothers and sisters and I. And so I wanted to be successful financially, but I never had that example. And so I got out of school, didn't know what I wanted to do in my life, but I went to college. And as I was starting college, I was going for business because I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I always saw successful people own businesses. So I started to go for business. After being there for 2 weeks, my professor, I saw his car. It was like this old beat up car. And, here I am, this young guy. I think cars are important, and so I see his car, and it was like literally the bumper was falling off, and he had used a bungee cord to hold it on, right? Which is crazy. And so at that moment, I realized, like, man, I don't know why I'm listening to this guy. I mean, he can't even afford a nice car. And so this was, I was 19 years old, and so I quit college. My mom was freaking out. I was the first kid in my family to graduate high school, let alone go to college, right? And so after that, I didn't know what I was going to do. I ended up doing advertising and marketing for a living, working for my mother-in-law, and she owned a very successful advertising and marketing company, and I loved it. I had an amazing time doing it. I really did. It was very stressful because it was a stressful career, but it was creative, and I'm an artist, so I just loved that kind of stuff, seeing
Right.
new material. And we would do TV commercials and radio ads and billboards and all that kind of stuff, and I had so much fun. But on my biggest income month ever, I got my pay cut, and I was on commission to begin with, so it wasn't like I was getting an hourly wage, right?
Right.
And so when I got my pay cut, Brandon Neal had been following up with me for a year and a half. And I had actually been introduced to Primerica before, but I just never followed through with it. And so a year and a half later, when my pay gets cut, I'm a little bit older, a little bit more mature in life, thinking about my future now. My pay gets cut. Brandon Neal called me and asked me how my life was going. I said, man, you won't believe it. He goes, I do. That's what corporate America does, right? They're trying to get more out of you for less money. And at that moment, I started realizing, like, maybe he's telling me the truth. And so I took Kelsey. At the time, she was just my girlfriend. I took her down to an opportunity meeting, and she was so excited. But I did not think I could do this. I thought there was no way. I had to talk to people. It's super uncomfortable for me. I'm a naturally very quiet guy. I'm an introvert by nature. And I just thought there was no way I could succeed. But Kelsey made me do it, literally made me do it. And so I said, all right, I'm going to do it. And so got started, and was scared to death. Kept my job for 9 months. After 9 months in the business, I quit my job and went full time. And that's how we got started, man. I was so scared. So, our first year we made $14,000. And so we didn't make a killing, but I was working one night a week part-time, and I was 21.
What
Right?
attracted you to the business? What was it that kept you going?
What attracted me was the reason why I never had a job per se is because I saw all these people like my mom always working. And because I grew up poor, I wanted to be financially successful, right? And I didn't just want to be financially successful. I wanted to have a successful marriage, which I had never seen, right, in my life. My mom had been divorced twice, and and so I had never seen an example of financial success nor a personal success in my life at all. And so I always wanted that. And so what I saw with Primerica is that it would give me that opportunity. It would give me the opportunity to make an incredible amount of income, right? To have an incredible amount of freedom. but also be an environment that I felt great that my family could be raised in. That if I was here for the next 20 or 30 or 40 years and my children were raised in this environment, that we would have an incredible family. And so that really is what attracted me, is not only the money, but the life that we could live and the people that we could become because of all the great examples of the great people in this company. And so I just kept going. I just realized that this was the vehicle that would give me everything that I wanted in life. And so I just kept going, just kept fighting the good fight. I just felt like this was the right thing to do. At the end of the day, it was good for people. Right. Everybody I was sitting out with, if they became a client of mine, it was good for their family. And I made money, it was good for my family, right? And so I just saw if it was a win-win for everybody I sat down with, I didn't care what anybody else said. I was going to do it.
Now, you mentioned your first year you made $15,000,
yep.
Or just under $15,000 your first year.
Yep.
What happened the second, the third, and so forth?
Yeah, so what happened is we became regional vice presidents in May of 2007, and I had just turned 22 years old, and Kelsey was 19 at the time, and we made our exact income our first year was $14,996, right? Our first year part-time. So we became RVPs, moved up to Idaho. And our first year we made $114,000 as RVPs. Our second year we made $220,000. Our third year we made $465,000. Wow. I was 24 years old. Kelsey was 21. Wow. And at that moment, things started changing for us. We had, by the time I was 26 years old, we had saved $1 million in cash. And we were totally debt-free. Our life had changed. We had a hierarchy. We were making about $40,000 a month at the time. And so we had a phenomenal life. Our dreams started to become a reality at a very young age. Now things started to change for us because all those people who criticized us and told us we were crazy, our family members who said, are you going to go get a real job? Or why don't you go back to school and get a job? All those people that said all that stuff, and people would talk, which they still do, by the way, but the talk is different. Now it's, just recently my wife's sister just got married, and we were able to help with the wedding and all that kind of stuff. And we've been able to help our family. My mom doesn't have to worry about money anymore. And we've been able to help our family. And I think to me, a lot of those people are the same people who told us we were crazy. But I didn't do it in spite of them. I did it for my family. And so to be able to come through and know that we fought, that we went after it, and now we're living our dream life, there's no words that I could explain how good it is. I have 2 children, and to know that how good our children's lives are going to be because we made a decision to start something, to get good at it, and to stick with it long term, right, and be successful at it and win at it, right? And because of that, it has set our families up for generations, which is amazing.
Let me ask you a question. You mentioned you had a certain amount of money saved at a certain point. Now, most people at that age, right, they start making a higher income. Most people don't actually do the right things with the money that they're making.
Right.
What shaped your mentality in knowing what to do with your money and how to do with it?
Well, a couple of things. One is I decided to practice what we preach, right? Okay. So what we do for our clients, I just said, if it is good for them, then it's good for me. And another thing is people in this company, which I'm so grateful for so many people. Omar Oropesa was at a young age. I would listen to Omar Oropesa and him talking about the amount of money he had saved and that he was living in an apartment and making I think he was making $800,000 a year at the time living in an apartment. And I just said, that's how these guys are getting financially independent, is they're living way below their means. As they increase their income, they did not increase their lifestyle. And so that's what I decided to do. Hector Lamarck and so many other people have inspired me to say, man, they got financially independent because they didn't buy things they didn't need. Right. They made an income, invested their money, and got financially independent. And again, I told you I wanted to be financially successful. I didn't want to just be making a high income and have no money saved, because to me that's not success. That's spending money that you probably shouldn't have spent, right? I wanted to get financially independent, and I wanted my family to be set up for generations. I wanted to be financially secure, and so I know in order to do that, that I would have to live below my means. For example, Kelsey and I lived in like a 600 square foot apartment. Wow. When we were making $40,000 a month. And so we were living on $3,500 a month, including our business expenses, and saving everything else we made. So as our income grew, so did our savings. Right. We never increased our overhead.
A little bit different of a question. I noticed when you mentioned your mom, you mentioned your wife, your kids. Mm-hmm. Why does it make you emotional?
because that's why I came here. I think so often people, they get started in our business. And one of the things I always tell them, don't let the reason you started be the reason you quit. Because what happens, they come here and they want to win for their family. But then their family, just like anybody who succeeds in anything, may give them a hard time. You're crazy, I don't know, because it's different than what they did.
Right.
But it has to be different. If it's not different, you get the same results, right? And so I don't know why I understood that early on. Like if I did the same thing as you, I'm gonna get the same results. So many people don't see that. And so I came here to provide for my family and to win for my family. And I saw that this great company would give me that opportunity. And as long as someone was willing to give me the opportunity, I was willing to do the work. And I love my family just like everybody else loves their family.
Right.
And so it gets me emotional because I think of, man, what if I wouldn't have done it? You know, what if I would have listened to everybody else who told me I should go get a job like everybody else? I would probably be in student loan debt, be struggling financially, living paycheck to paycheck, having no money saved, having to work till I die, like the majority of people do.
Right.
And so I get emotional thinking about what if I wouldn't have done it because of how good our life is today.
Now, looking back from the time you started and where you're at today, think about the different choices that you made. Sometimes there were probably pivotal moments in your life.
Yep.
What are some of the things that maybe shaped you? Some things in particular that really shaped you in the decisions that you made, and also kind of looking back and saying, man, are you glad you did it?
Right. Yeah, I think a couple of things. Yeah, there are definitely some moments that, made our career, so to speak, that if we wouldn't have had those moments, who knows where we'd be today?
Right.
Right. So, for example, one of them was right when we became regional vice presidents. I still didn't think we could do this. And I remember there's $1 million earner in our company, and we were in a group of people, about 30 people. And he just grabbed my face and just rubbed my face and just said, man, if I had 1 million of you, I'd be the most successful guy in this company. Well, if he had 1 million of anybody, he'd be the most successful guy. But for some reason, for him giving me that attention, I just felt like, man, why'd he pick me out of this whole crowd? Right. And I'll never forget, it changed me because I knew that he could have said that to anybody else, but he said it to me. And so maybe I can do this. And my belief level changed. And I left that meeting and I went home a changed person. And when I mean change, I didn't just change the inside and how I felt, but I changed my actions. The look in my eyes changed. I was serious about making this thing happen. So I think that was one. Another thing is when I started seeing our people winning, I started realizing that the greatest feeling you will have in your life is not just you personally having success, but being able to help somebody else do that and watching their dreams come true. And so we've been fortunate enough to see multiple people in our organization really watch their dreams become a reality. And it keeps me hungry. I see that and I realize how good our life is, but more importantly, I watch other people's lives changing in front of me and realizing that we had something to do with that. We had an impact on that. And there's no explanation. There are not words in the English language to describe the emotion that you'll feel of how much of an impact it will make on your life when you not only achieve your dreams, because you have to achieve your dreams in order to be able to inspire someone to achieve theirs, but there's no words to explain how good it feels to watch someone achieve their dreams and goals.
So would you say it was worth it?
Yeah, man. I think worth it doesn't describe it. We've only been here 11 years, and I think about, I'm young. And my family's young, and I think about, man, how good it is. I have a hard time bragging about how good our life is, because it's us, right? But this company has delivered in more ways than I can ever explain. Not only the lifestyle that we get to live and the money, but the freedom and the environment our children are brought up in, and what it's done for my wife and I's marriage, because we have so many examples of incredible marriages in our spiritual life, because we've seen so many people in this environment where they're given to churches and charities, and it inspired us to do the same thing. And I look back at the last 11 years, and I'm so grateful that through the times that I wanted to quit, because I wanted to quit 1 million times, through the times that got tough, from the people that quit on us, from the dark houses to the dark times, right? I'm so grateful that we persisted through, because I look back on all that stuff and realize that it was those times that made us stronger. It was those times that made us be able to relate to somebody who was going through tough times and realize that if you just make it through that, your life can be better than you'll ever imagine. And I think that is such an important thing for people to remember. I'm so dang glad we paid the price. I'm so glad we did it. We're nowhere near where we want to be in the future. Right. but dang, our life is so good because we're willing to do it. And everybody has the opportunity. So if they're willing to do what it takes, they can achieve their dreams too. And that's what I love about this company is you can really help people chase their goals and dreams and make it become a reality.
Hey, Jeff, I just want to thank you so much for sitting down and sharing with me today your personal story. You've been a true inspiration to my wife and I.
Honestly, it's humbling to be able to sit down here and share with you today. I really had a great time. Thank you. I appreciate it.